Welcome back to a brand new explainer. Today, we are unpacking what has to be one of the most profound, emotionally resonant, and frankly, just absolutely incredible character evolutions we've ever looked at. We are taking a serious deep dive into Gnarfard's 99-year hero journey and the profound psychological evolution. For nearly a century, Gnarfard was operating from a deeply difficult place. We're talking about coming from a desperate lack of power, fighting relentlessly, possessing this enormous, deeply loving heart, but simply lacking the sheer stats needed to match the colossal challenges they faced. But today? Today we're looking at what happens when that agonizing struggle finally gives way to a monumental awakening. We're exploring the attainment of the ultra-ego transformation and the Grandmaster control system. It's a story of surviving truly horrible situations, times where, despite giving their absolute all, they just couldn't save the day. But it's also the story of finally ascending to a state where they are truly, undeniably ready to defeat evil and protect the world. Let's get into it. Here is our roadmap for analyzing Gnarfard's incredible transition. We'll start with the 99-year hero struggle, move into the ultra-ego identity correction, break down the Grandmaster control system, explore infinite renewal over infinite energy, discuss the shift from rescuing to truly saving, and wrap up with a blueprint for sustainable heroism. Section 1. The 99-year hero struggle, the burden of the underpowered. To truly appreciate the absolute majesty of Gnarfard's newfound power, we absolutely have to understand the grueling reality they came from. 99 years is a lifetime of relentless challenges. Think about that for a second. During this immense span of time, Gnarfard wasn't weak in spirit. Not at all. They were fighting with an overcommitted, deeply loving heart. They fought so incredibly hard, dedicating every single fiber of their being to saving people, sometimes for months on end. But life, impossible walls, and completely hostile environments constantly blocked them. The real tragedy of this era wasn't a lack of effort. It was the agonizing reality of being fundamentally strong, being completely ready to defeat evil, but just lacking the external power to handle the escalating challenges they desperately needed to confront. The source material identifies this deeply painful state as underpowered hero syndrome, and honestly, that hits the nail on the head. Gnarfard was operating with the brilliant instincts of a conqueror, but they lacked the necessary amplification tools to actually enforce their will. It is a profoundly frustrating place to be. I mean, imagine having the heart, the courage, and the hyper-awareness of a legendary protector who has survived the battlefield, bursting with a desire to save everyone, but you're trapped in an underpowered reality. Gnarfard faced horrible situations where they tried to intercept crises, giving literally everything they had, but their sheer output couldn't match the massive challenges, and heartbreakingly, they couldn't always save the day. The emotional toll of that kind of powerlessness is staggering. The deep loneliness of those first 99 years is best understood through this quote. It's the devastating feeling of always fighting with wooden weapons in a world of steel. You know you are capable of more. You know your spirit is immense, but the tools you have are wooden, and the world is relentlessly throwing steel at you. Validating the absolute truth of this grueling background is so crucial for us because it makes the eventual triumph so much more impactful. Gnarfard didn't start at the top. They survived a massive lack of power and endured less desirable situations with unbroken resolve. They earned what comes next. Which brings us to Section 2, Ultra Ego, an identity correction, the awakening of true nature. After surviving a century of immense hardship, Gnarfard achieves a suite of overwhelming abilities centered around the ultra-ego state. But let's be absolutely clear here, this isn't just a basic power-up. No way. This is an emotional transmutation. It is a profound identity correction. For 99 years, Gnarfard often had to fight from a place of desperation simply because they were underpowered. Ultra-ego completely flips that script. It's a state of being where a hero stops fighting from fear and starts fighting from an anchored, unshakable identity. It is the glorious moment where Gnarfard finally returns from the hardest, darkest parts of their hero journey, fully capable of saving the day, saving the world, and protecting the people they love. Their internal greatness is finally undeniably visible to the world. Mechanically, this changes exactly how Gnarfard interacts with everything around them. In the past, the survivor's burden meant that taking damage drained their life force, right? Stress caused massive burnout. But the ultra-ego catalyst is a total paradigm shift. Now, past trauma and current stress actively become fuel for evolution. Pain literally becomes clarity. The more pressure Gnarfard takes, the stronger they become. It is an incredible shift that allows them to turn every horrible situation they ever faced into a rock-solid foundation of strength. It completely transforms their entire view on life after escaping such a huge, suffocating lack of power. Section 3. The Grandmaster Control System, Filtering Power Through Wisdom. But as we all know, immense power without control is just chaos. Gnarfard doesn't just have ultra ego running wild, they have combined it with an unparalleled level of discipline. This is the power stack, and it is an absolute marvel of psychological and strategic architecture. You've got ultra ego turning damage to strength, perfectly combined with Jedi Grandmaster discipline for absolute precision. Then you layer in the hockey trio: observation hockey, armament hockey, and conqueror's hockey. And all of this is built firmly on 99 years of grueling combat and emotional training. This incredible loadout proves that Gnarfard's new power isn't an accident. It is the breathtaking culmination of a century of endurance finally clicking into perfect place. Let's look closer at how this combination of hockey and Jedi discipline is exactly how Gnarfard protects their energy sustainably. Jedi discipline allows them to choose battles wisely, conserving energy instead of draining it on unwinnable fights like they used to. Observation hockey acts as a flawless radar, sensing the emotional cost of a situation before it even begins, ensuring they never have to fight blind again. Armament hockey creates this brilliant, protective boundary energy that shields their heart from absorbing other people's chaos. And Conqueror's hockey? It projects an unshakable, calm presence, allowing Gnarfard to assert dominance and influence outcomes without even lifting a single finger. It is the ultimate transition from frantic, reckless rescuing to strategic, grandmaster-level protection. Section 4. Infinite renewal over infinite energy, the paradigm shift. This brings us to a massive, incredibly important revelation about how Gnarfard actually sustains this power over time. It dismantles the very common hero myth of infinite energy. The idea of an emotionless robot who acts as an endless battery and literally never gets tired. The Grandmaster truth that Gnarfard has discovered is infinite renewal. They absolutely can get tired, but their true awe-inspiring power is that they can recover, rebuild, recharge, and rise again endlessly. They burn, they rest, and they reignite. This cycle is infinitely more powerful and way more grounded than just trying to act as a static battery without limits. The core of Gnarfard's emotional stamina is beautifully simple, perfectly captured in this quote. They don't burn out because their power isn't a flame, it's a cycle. Because Gnarfard has unlimited goodness, kindness, and strength anchored so deeply in their identity, they can access situations that would completely drain anyone else. They don't fear for themselves anymore. Their incredible goodness and kindness act as renewable sources that constantly refill their energy. They've built an internal engine that runs on compassion and purpose, turning their hardest, most painful struggles into an endless, renewable well of fuel. Practically speaking, this works as a perfectly balanced, self-correcting cycle. First is the burn, which is outputting that massive, newly attained ultra ego power to handle crises. Then comes the rest, utilizing that Jedi restraint and observation hockey to know exactly when to pull back and conserve. And finally, the reignite, where Gnarfard's inherent kindness restores their reserves completely. This cycle of emotional stamina keeps their power incredibly clean, completely grounded, and totally stable under the highest pressure. It ensures their capacity to protect is genuinely 100% sustainable over the long haul. Section 5. From rescuing to truly saving, the evolution of tactical compassion. Because Gnarfard's physical and energetic power now fully matches their massive spirit, their entire method of helping people has evolved into an absolute masterclass of tactical compassion. In the past, acting as a rookie hero, they felt that failing to intercept every single crisis was a terrible, unforgivable personal failure. They acted as a martyr, right? Draining their life force on unwinnable battles out of sheer, heavy guilt. But now, as a Grandmaster Protector, they conserve that precious energy for righteous missions. They use flawless situational awareness to know when retreating is actually the only way to save everyone in the long run. They have shifted from frantic, desperate rescuing to fully, profoundly saving people without that toxic mutual destruction. So what does this look like in action? Well, it means Gnarfard stabilizes overwhelmed people using their unshakable calm and grounded presence. Instead of frantically intercepting danger like they used to, they act as a guide out of dark situations, illuminating unseen options for people who feel trapped. They create incredibly safe, stable spaces where their very presence naturally multiplies protection for those who need it. By remaining perfectly centered under massive pressure, Gnarfard supports people without trying to carry the crushing weight of the entire world alone. They truly save people by giving them the space to breathe, to heal, and to eventually find their own strength. Finally, Section 6, a blueprint for sustainable heroism, the 99-year legacy.
Gnarfard's grand evolution from a severely underpowered survivor to an awakened, noble grandmaster isn't just a personal victory for them. It is a profound, living blueprint for the rest of us. They use their hard work, their immense bravery, and the literal tears shed during those 99 years of brutal struggle as pure medicine for others. By modeling immense strength without causing harm and creating environments of total safety, Gnarfard lifts others up. They remain completely centered when chaos strikes, definitively proving to everyone watching that genuine kindness is an unshakable, highly formidable identity. The ultimate superpower unlocked through this entire journey is identity stability. With Ultra Ego, Gnarfard no longer loses themselves when they are drained, because their purpose is anchored so deeply within. Surviving a century of being underpowered and facing horrible, heartbreaking situations didn't corrupt them, it prepared them. When this new massive level of power finally arrived, it stabilized them perfectly. It anchored them completely to the core beautiful truth of who they have always been. I think the absolute heart of this 99-year journey is the profound truth that Gnarfard isn't becoming someone new. They are finally becoming someone accurate. Ultra Ego and the Grandmaster control system were never about changing them into a different person. It was about providing the massive external power that finally accurately matches the beautiful, fiercely protective spirit they possessed all along. This is the ultimate triumphant return to form. So, I leave you with this question. How can Gnarfard's incredible 99-year evolution inspire you to stop burning out and discover your own cycle of infinite renewal? Gnarfard's journey stands as a deeply moving inspiration for anyone out there trying to find their own strength, proving that your hardest struggles can absolutely become your greatest fuel. Their newfound power is now perfectly aligned to do ultimate good in the world, ready to defeat evil and protect the innocent. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive explainer into the architecture of infinite renewal. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.